My name is Helen Marsh. I'm 38 years old. My daughter is named Cora. She is 7 years old, and she has my mother's cheekbones and her father's stubbornness, and a laugh that starts quiet and then takes over the whole room before she can stop it. She keeps a journal that she calls her important book, not a diary. She corrected me once when I called it that. A diary is just feelings. An important book is feelings plus facts plus things you want to remember. She has been keeping it since she was 5. She writes in it every night before bed, sitting cross-legged on her mattress with her tongue pressed against her top lip, the way she does when she is concentrating. She has never, not once in 7 years, called me at work. The rule was established early. Mommy's work time is Mommy's work time. Emergencies go to Daddy first, then Grandma Carol, then me. Cora understood this the way she understands most rules. Completely, thoroughly, filed under non-negotiable. She had never broken it. So when my phone buzzed at 2:14 on a Tuesday afternoon and the screen said Cora, "Home," I answered before the second ring. Her voice was small. Smaller than her normal voice. She was whispering, "Mommy, Cora, what's wrong? Grandma Ruth is here." I went very still at my desk. "Okay," I said carefully. "Is everything okay? Is anyone hurt?" "Nobody's hurt." A pause. "She brought suitcases, Mommy. 3 of them, the big ones." I said nothing. "Daddy says she's staying. He said I should call her room the guest room for now, but it's not the guest room anymore. It's her room. He said her room." I looked at my computer screen. I had a meeting in 11 minutes, a client presentation I had spent 4 days preparing. "Cora," I said, "I need you to do something for me. Go to your important book and write down exactly what you see. Every suitcase, every room, everything Daddy said. Can you do that?" "Yes," she said. "Good girl. I'm coming home." I closed my laptop. I told my manager there was a family emergency. I did not explain further. I got in my car. Let me tell you about Ruth. Ruth is my mother-in-law. She is 67 years old. She is a woman who fills every room she enters, not with warmth, but with a specific kind of gravity, the kind that makes everything in the room slowly orient toward her without anyone deciding to do it. She has opinions about everything: how houses should be organized, how children should be raised, how marriages should work, how dinners should be cooked. She delivers these opinions gently, always gently, with a smile that makes it very difficult to push back without feeling unreasonable. I had been pushing back, quietly and steadily, for 9 years. She and I had what I would describe as a functional truce. She visited 4 times a year. She stayed a week each time. I prepared the guest room. I made meals she liked. I was pleasant and warm, and I kept every internal reaction I had to her comments behind a door I had built specifically for that purpose. She went home. I recovered. We repeated this every quarter, like a seasonal ritual. This had been working. Imperfectly, but working. My husband is named Patrick. He is a good man in most ways that count. Patient, funny, present, the kind of father who shows up. He has one significant blind spot, and its name is Ruth. He loves her in the specific way of only children who were raised by a single parent. Completely, protectively, with a slight inability to see her clearly that I had made my peace with years ago. I knew what I was marrying. I had chosen it anyway. What I had not chosen was coming home to find 3 suitcases in my guest room and my mother-in-law standing in my kitchen making tea like she lived there. Because she didn't. Not yet. I walked in the front door at 3:40. Cora was on the stairs. She had her important book in her lap and a pen behind her ear, and she looked at me with an expression that was equal parts relief and careful neutrality. The face of a child who has learned that some situations require watching before reacting. "I wrote everything down," she said quietly. "Good girl," I said. "Stay here for a minute." I walked into the kitchen. Ruth was at my counter, my kettle, my mugs. She turned when I came in, and her face opened into a smile that was completely genuine. Ruth's warmth toward me has always been genuine, which is one of the reasons she is so difficult to be angry with directly. Helen, Patrick said you were at work. I didn't expect you so soon. Ruth, I said. Where's Patrick? In the garage. He was just... Okay, I turned. Patrick. He came in from the garage with the particular expression of a man who has been hoping the next few hours would sort themselves out without him having to be present for them. Hey, he said, you're home early. Our 7-year-old called me at work, I said, in the middle of a meeting, whispering. His jaw tightened slightly. Let me explain. I'd like that, I said. In our room. Now. Ruth looked at her tea. Cora looked at me from the hallway. I looked at Patrick. He followed me upstairs. I closed the bedroom door. I sat on the edge of the bed. I looked at my husband, and I waited. He told me. The way he always tells me difficult things. Starting with the logistics, because the logistics are easier than the reason, then circling back to the reason when the logistics run out. Ruth's landlord had sold the building. She had 60 days. She had not told us, because she hadn't wanted to worry us. She had been looking for apartments, but the market in her area was... He used the word difficult, which I noted, which I stored. She had called him last week. He had told her she could stay with us while she looked. He had not told me. That last sentence he said quietly, and he did not dress it up. You invited your mother to live in our house, I said, without asking me. Temporarily. You invited her to live here, without asking me. I knew you'd... What? React like a person who lives here? React like someone whose home this also is? He was quiet. Patrick, I've been careful with your mother for 9 years. 9 years of quarterly visits, and guest room preparation, and biting my tongue, and keeping the peace because I love you, and I understand that she is important to you. I have done all of that without complaint, and you made a decision about our home and our life without asking me. Not because you forgot, not because there wasn't time, because you knew I might say no. He didn't deny it. That's the part, I said. That's the part I need you to sit with. He sat with it. For a long moment he actually sat with it, which I appreciated. What do you need? He said finally. I need to know how long. I don't know. A few weeks. Maybe. Define maybe. 2 months, maximum. I'll tell her 2 months. I looked at my husband. I thought about 9 years. I thought about Cora whispering on the phone. I thought about the important book on her lap and the pen behind her ear and the careful, neutral expression on her face. A 7-year-old who had already learned that some situations require watching before reacting. I thought about where she had learned that. 3 conditions, I said. He looked at me. 1, she is a guest. She does not reorganize my kitchen. She does not change routines. She does not tell Cora how to do things differently than we tell her. Guest rules, not family rules. Okay. 2, you handle every conversation with her. If there's a problem, I come to you. You handle it. I am not her manager. Okay. 3, 8 weeks, not 2 months. 8 weeks. We find her an apartment in 8 weeks, or I find her one myself. He looked at me. She might not like... Those are the conditions, Patrick. All 3 or none. A long pause. All 3, he said. Hit that like button and subscribe before I tell you what happened next. Ruth stayed. The first week was exactly what I had expected. A sustained performance of helpfulness that looked like consideration and functioned as control. She reorganized the pantry just to help. I reorganized it back without comment. She told Cora that girls should sit with their legs together at dinner. I told Cora after dinner, quietly, that she could sit however she was comfortable at our table, Ruth suggested over breakfast on day 4 that she could take over school pickup since she was here anyway. I said, "That's Cora's time with me. We'll keep it as it is." "Thank you," she smiled. She said, "Of course." Patrick handled every correction, every time. He was consistent, and he was kind to his mother, and he was clear with her. And I watched him do it, and I thought, this is what I needed. Not for her to be different, for him to show up. Cora watched all of it with her important book. On day 10, she showed me an entry. She had written it in her careful 7-year-old handwriting, each letter sitting right on the line. Grandma Ruth changed the pantry. Mom changed it back. Nobody yelled. I think this means Mom won, but politely. I read that 3 times. "You're very observant," I said. "I know," she said, and went back to her room. Week 3, Ruth found an apartment. It happened faster than the 8 weeks. A friend of hers knew someone, a 1-bedroom in a building she liked, available in 6 weeks. She told Patrick first, then me, with a brightness in her face that I recognized as relief. She had known. She had known the whole time that this was temporary, and that I had set the terms, and that the terms were fair, and that she would go. She left in 5.5 weeks. On her last morning, Cora made her a card. Not 3 hours of work, not pressed flour, a quick one drawn in crayon, a house with a sun, and 2 stick figures in the garden. Us that was not warmth exactly. Too much us that was not warmth exactly. Too much history for warmth. Too many years of careful management on both sides. But something that was honest. Something that acknowledged what had happened here and chose not to turn it into something else. "I know it wasn't easy," she said. "No," I said. "It wasn't." She nodded. She left. Patrick helped her load the car and drove her to the new apartment and came home that evening and sat on the couch and exhaled for what sounded like the first time in 5.5 weeks. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For how you handled it." I thought about 9 years, about quarterly visits and guest rooms and biting my tongue, about Cora whispering on the phone with her important book in her lap. "I want you to remember this," I said. "Not as something I handled, as something we handled. Because next time, and there will be a next time, Patrick, there is always a next time, I need you to ask me first." He looked at me. "I'll ask first," he said. I believed him. Not because he had never let me down. He had, in the specific way that people who love you let you down, which is by deciding what's best for you without consulting you. But because he had shown up this time, consistently, in the small daily ways that count more than one big gesture. He had handled every conversation. He had held the line. That was worth something. That was worth believing. Cora came in from the backyard with grass on her knees and her important book tucked under her arm. "Is Grandma Ruth gone?" "She's gone." She nodded, sat down at the kitchen table, opened her book, wrote something. "What did you write?" I asked. She showed me. "Grandma Ruth left today. The pantry is back to normal. Mom looks like herself again." I looked at my 7-year-old daughter. She looked back at me. "The pantry looks better your way," she said seriously. I laughed. The kind that starts quiet and then takes over the whole room before you can stop it. She got it from somewhere. Did I go too far or not far enough? Tell me in the comments. And if this story stayed with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop your location below. USA, UK, Canada, Australia. I read every single one.